The Super Falcons of Nigeria played out a goalless draw against Portugal in this first of our two international friendlies before we participate at the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, of course, being played in 2025. This game, was a decent game to watch. Was a decent game to watch. I have a couple of things that I want to talk about from the match, but we cannot draw too many conclusions from today's game for different reasons. We didn't have our full squad available. Players just arrived and had to head to the game immediately. And they obviously did not train. But yeah, we can't make too many judgments from this game. I was taking notes as I was watching the game, so I'll talk about the things that I observed, the things that I think went okay, the things that I think we obviously need to fix up heading into our second friendly, and of course heading into the tournament as well. I've been reading the comments throughout the game. A lot of people are very quick to insult players, are very quick to insult and complain and say all sorts of things. Sometimes I laugh at it, but I always encourage Nigerian fans to be more supportive, especially women's football, because 90% of people don't actually watch women's football. They don't actually watch women's football. You don't watch the players at their clubs. You just come when it's time for a Super Falcons game, and then you are quick to start insulting, oh, this one that, this one that. You don't think about all the different factors that go into a quality performance. So I will just say very quickly, it was a very tense game. Both sides did not show that much quality. The reality of the matter is that Portugal is not a very strong team. Let's be realistic. Portugal is not a very strong team. They are one of the mid, quality teams in Europe. Before this game, Portugal were on a four-game losing streak. So they came into this game particularly trying to turn their form around and trying to at least get a win as they are going to the Euros, the women's Euros. Nigeria came into this game off of the back of the win against Cameroon, but we must also remember the fact that a lot of these players only arrived in Portugal how many hours ago? They did not get the chance to train, and they have to come and take on this game. Even on the bench, the coach barely had players. The players that he benched, he had to, because just to be able to fill up and have some options. We started the game in first minutes fast, but then Portugal very quickly settled into the game. Portugal started to take control of the match. They were the better side for a lot of the first half. We looked to play a 4-3-3 formation on the ball. We had Shukura Toladipo playing from the right side. Ajibade was playing in a midfield role along with Jennifer Echegini. Now, I don't know if this is the idea that the coach has for using them, whether using Oladipo and Ajibade, or maybe it was just because, well, he did not have another right back option, so he had to play Oladipo at right back. He didn't have another midfield option or another wing option, so he had to play Ajibade based on the players that were available, and that's how he could mix and match. I don't know exactly. We'll have to wait for the Ghana game to see how the coach sets the team up, then to have a better understanding of what he wants to do when it comes to the Super Falcons setup. But we had a 4-3 formation. We also had Francisca Odega playing up front. Odega, of course, is not a natural number 9. I think that was fairly obvious for a lot of the time. But at the same time, even though a lot of people in the comments wanted to be insulting her and wanted to be saying all sorts of things, in the first half, Odega was feeding on scraps, man. Odega was feeding on scraps. She was barely having any service to her. Whenever the ball came up, she was isolated. She had to try to outmuscle two defenders. It wasn't very easy. Now, did she do good in the first half? No, she didn't. But I don't think that it was worth all the insults and things that people were saying about her and about the performance in that first half. I thought she did what she could try to do given the lack of service and given the isolation that she faced up front. In the first half, our right flank was relatively out of the game. Oladipo doesn't offer much going forward, which is to be expected as she's a centre back and not a right back naturally. She was just deputizing in that position. So she really doesn't offer anything going forward. And as a result, Tony Payne was barely getting in on the ball at all. So Tony Payne in that first half was practically invisible in that first half, to be honest. We struggled with our build up a lot in the game as well, especially in the first half. Connecting the defense to the midfield to the attack is something that we were not able to do. A lot of the time, there was too little movement off the ball, so players are having to play long balls. Players are not really able to find the right passes, and they were giving the ball away a little bit too cheaply. So that is something that I hope that the coach is able to fix We had a few half chances here and there. Ajibade got the first shot on target after, decent play from Babaji and Odega on the left hand side. And then in the second half, we picked things up a little bit. Of course, lest we forget, Chiamaka Nnadozie had to save us a couple times in the first half. I think she had to make about two crucial saves or three crucial saves in the first half. So Portugal also had their opportunities. And then in the second half, we came into the game some more. The subs definitely helped us. Moving Odega to the left-hand side and allowing Ifeoma Onumonu to play up front definitely helped us. Odega came into the game more. You could see some quality that she has with her passing and with her contributions. Of course, Francisca Odega is not 22 years old anymore. She's not going to be as fast as she was in the past. She's not going to have the same energy that she had in the past. So people that keep talking about that, I don't know what you're expecting. The reality of it is that Odega is probably not going to be a starter at the WAFCON when there's a full strength team, when every single person is available. But for today, I think people just want to harp on her because it's something that people like to do in Nigerian football. But she, in the first half, wasn't good. In the second half, she came into the game a lot more. She had to play. She gave what she could give because we don't have options. Again, we barely had enough players, and even the players that we had on the field did not train, arrived late, struggling to be strong enough to play this game. This is something that the NFF, we have to, it's very easy to come and insult players and even insult coaching, but the NFF needs to do better when it comes to preparation, when it comes to logistics. This is something that happens time and time and time again. We don't prepare properly. We don't plan properly. We've known about this Portugal game since God knows when. At least since last month, we've known that we're going to play Portugal in this match. Tell me why players are arriving 5 hours before the match. Why are players arriving 8 hours before the match, 10 hours before the match? It makes absolutely no sense. And that one is all down to our organization. So today, you could only expect so much. And for the fact that the players were still able to give you the kind of efforts that they gave today, you have to give credit to them. But let me go back. In the second half, we came into the game a bit more. The substitutions helped. Ashley Plumter came on. Halima Twanyinde came on. Issa came on towards the end of the game, so you can't really talk about her too much. If Onumonu came on, and the substitutes showed that we still have some quality in the team. Babajide did not get into the game as much as I would have liked her to, but I still know the quality that she brings and what she can offer to the Super Falcons. So we can't talk about that too much. Even in this game, Eche Guinea did not get too much of the ball and too much opportunity to really show her stuff and show what she can do. Eche Guinea is not that tireless midfield worker, but she's that player that gets the ball in a bit of space, can dance around a couple players, can pick a pass or can take a shot. And today have to, she did not really have the opportunity to do too well. So again, there's a lot of things that we can fix. I think for me, the biggest red flag today, and I'm not trying to knock anybody, but the biggest red flag today has to be Miracle Lusani. When I did my breakdown of the squad, after the squad for the WAFCON was announced, a lot of people came and were arguing in the comments and saying Miracle Lusani is better than Romero. Somebody even said she's miles ahead of Michelle Alozie. And maybe she is. Let me not even start an argument today. But this game did not help that argument at all. Miracle Usani was Nigeria's worst player on the field today. We have to be honest with ourselves. And I am not even picking on things like lack of energy, lack of coordination, lack of organization, because I understand that those things are a result of, not being able to train. Those things are a result of the coach not having any time to get his team together, jet lag, I understand all those things. But what worried me about Miracle's performance today was more so just that lack of intelligence off the ball, lack of making the right decision. She doesn't have those instincts. She's getting too attracted to the ball. She's getting beat too easily. She doesn't know how to track her runner when the runner is off the ball. She doesn't know how to deal with any ball that is coming over the top. In the first half, especially, about three of the half chances that Portugal got were all because she just did not do a good job defensively. Tosin Dimeyo on that side was having to cover for her way more than she should need to. Demey also did not have the best game today. Demey was not as composed as sometimes I would see that she can be. But she was having to work two shifts today because she was having to cover up for Miracle Lusani for a very, very large part of the game while Miracle was on the field. So that is something that I would hope to see a lot of improvement on. Some people were very big on her, were praising her a lot after the squad was announced, but today she did not cover herself or her supporters in glory. I'm not going to just cast her away. I'm not going to say she's a terrible player. I'm not going to say she should not play at the WAFCON, but she would need to improve and work on a lot of those things going into the next game. Now, I understand that she did not have it easy in terms of her matchup today. You know, the Silvers that were playing up front are quite good players, they're quite tricky players. But again, just the right positioning, the right instinct, the time to know when to step, when to stay behind. Yes, her rushing towards the ball in about one or two occasions, she won the ball, and you would understand that, okay, fine, you know, you can have some success, but majority of the time wasn't success for her. So I really hope that she works on those things, and I hope that she improves. Ajibade played with energy today, tried her hardest, had one half chance, but didn't really get an opportunity to do anything really. And I'm happy that she's not injured. Somebody said I'm being emotional. I don't understand what is the emotional that you're hearing or that I'm talking about. I'm analyzing the game based on what I observed today. Nevertheless, Ucheibe, I don't think it was the best game for Ucheibe today. She got beat a couple times, I thought too easily. But Ucheibe, I don't doubt the quality that she has. I know what she brings to the field. I think that with better organization overall, Ucheibe will perform better. Osinachi Ohale, you always know what you are going to get from Osinachi Ohale. Calm, composed, energetic, controlling in the center of the defense. I thought she had a good game today. Osinachi was probably the best of our defenders today. Didn't really put a foot wrong in the match. And yeah, I thought it was a half decent performance from the Super Falcons. They did not lose, so that's a good thing, but they could have done better. They could have maybe tried to do better. But I also have to be cognizant of the fact that, again, they traveled late. They did not get to they did not get to train. Most of the players arrived late, you know, so it was a very disjointed performance. I don't want to be what's the word? I don't want to be an alarmist. I don't want to be an alarmist because I do believe that we will play better than we did today in the WAFCON tournament itself. I honestly do believe so. When we have our full complement of players, I believe that we will do better. But I will say this: today's game, especially for the first 55, 60 minutes, is the most disjointed that I've seen the Super Falcons look since about 2021 or 2022. I will say that. Again, I'm not saying it's cause for alarm, but I'm just saying the team looked very, very, very disjointed today. Very disorganized. The coach needs to get these things right. I do believe that having our full complement of players will solve some of these issues simply because we will have more quality on the field. We will have more familiarity in terms of players that have played together. You know, we will have more intelligence in terms of players that just know the game and know football better. But I think that the coach has some questions that he needs to answer in terms of how he wants his team to play. Based on how this game has gone, I personally don't even know if the game was worth playing, other than the fact that they had already agreed to it. Maybe it was worth it because we saw some of the issues that Miracle Lusani has, and we know that we need her to improve in that position. But other than that, I don't think we learned too much today. This is something that the former coach Randy Waldrum, quick plug, my interview with Randy Waldrum is going to be live on the channel on Wednesday. And in my interview with Randy Waldrum, he spoke so many times about lack of organization and just bad preparedness from the NFF. And that's something that has come into play again today. We knew we were playing this match since. Why are players arriving a few hours before the game? Like, we just need to do better as an organization. If we want to win the WAFCON, we need to do better as an organization. We really do need to do better as an organization. I know that the players can't really come out and complain because if they complain, there's consequences, or if they speak out in public, I don't know if this coach Justin Madugu actually fights for the players and actually like speaks to the NFF. We can't keep saying we don't have money. We can't keep saying we don't, we can't do things properly because we can, We honestly can. And somebody said the girl just needs to play any game. I disagree. There's some games that you play that actually do worse for you than good. because this game, we didn't learn much from this game. There's no improvements that we've got from this game. Could this time have been spent training and actually get some training sessions in? Maybe. Now, at the same time, just because the team has been so inactive, I'm just happy that, thank God, at least the Super Falcons are playing matches. I'm just happy. Thank God they are playing matches. But this game did not really do much good for us in the grand scheme of things. We played against the European side. We played against the European side. We're not going to face any team like them at the WAFCON. That's just the reality. Most of the teams that we're going to play at the WAFCON will have nothing looking like this. Maybe at most South Africa, if I want to stretch it a little bit. So we could have spent the time training. We could have spent the time playing on African side. The game against Ghana, I'm not sure exactly where the game is going to be played, but I hope that the game is not being played in Nigeria. I really do hope so. For one, because if the game is in Nigeria, you know that watching or streaming the game is going to be a very complicated situation if the game is in Nigeria. So I hope that the Ghana game is not going to be in Nigeria. I hope that we're going to, by then, the game is in 6 days' time. I hope and believe that we're going to have a full complement of our players. I hope that the coach would have got some training sessions under his belt, because a lot of people maybe don't understand exactly how these things work, in the sense of like, the players play the game today, 23rd of June. Tomorrow is match day recovery, 24th of June. There's also a high chance that they fly tomorrow. So maybe they'll fly tomorrow, 24th of June, in the evening. They might even fly earlier in the day. But if they fly tomorrow, it means that 25th of June, when they arrive, they are not really going to be able to train on the 25th, because they'll be recovering from travel, from the everything. Then they're going to have 26th, they're going to have 27th. The 28th is match day minus one. So you don't really train on match day minus one. It's just mostly like classroom work, tactics, and things like that. And then 29. So they'll train on the 26th, 27th, pretty much two training sessions before they play against Ghana. Okay, people are saying the Ghana game is in Morocco, which is good. I like that. At least let them get to Morocco, let them settle. But essentially, see, like I just explained, they will probably have two training sessions before they face Ghana. So even that Ghana game, I think we will see more, because we'll have a full strength squad at the time. But it's still going to be very limited training before we play the game. And then after we play Ghana on the 29th in that second friendly, we'll then have, how many days are in June? I think 31 days in June. No, 30 days in June. So we'll have the 30th, the first, second, and third, four training sessions. So the team is essentially going to train a maximum of 6 times before we open up our WAFCON campaign on the 6th of July. So it's going to be a tight one. But I do believe that we have enough quality in our team to get the job done. Our group is not the most difficult group in the world on paper. I'll say on paper. So you want to believe that they have enough quality to get past our players. But I think that the coach needs to really utilize the little time that he has. And I just think that we need to do a better job in terms of organizing ourselves, in terms of preparing for matches like this. If we have to travel, these things have to be sorted out early enough. People have to get their plans in order, because to play a game like this with zero training sessions, it's kind of pointless. It's kind of pointless. To play a game like this with zero. Somebody said they should travel tonight. It's already 10 p.m. in Portugal or something. You want them to now just shower and go straight to airport. And the players, even if they travel tonight, they can't train tomorrow. They will still need to rest, you know. So it's still a very, very tight schedule. But when we haven't been playing games in these past windows, it doesn't bode well for us. But again, I will keep saying this. I believe in the quality of the players that we have. With Chamaka and Go, with Ohale in the defense, with Ucheibe in the midfield, with Ajibade leading the team, and with some of the other quality players that we have, like an assistant to Shoala, Erin Salah Babajide, Jennifer Echegini, I still believe that we have more than enough to win the WAFCON. I just think that today's game did not show us much. Today's game did not give us much. And it is no surprise to me when I know all the things that happen behind the scenes. Somebody here said they don't care about Randy Wardrum. You don't have to care. My interview with Randy Wardrum is coming out this week on Wednesday. You don't have to watch the interview if you don't want to watch it. I care. A lot of people care. It's not about Randy Wardrum himself. It's about a lot of things that he spoke about that are things that affect the team and things that are still affecting the team till today. Somebody also mentioned that some of the lack of cohesion started at the Olympics. I would have to disagree with that because I think at the Olympics, while we were not really a very good attacking side, you will understand more about that when you watch the interview because we spoke about that and why we did not play that well at the Olympics. But we still had a lot of our coordination. We still had a good counter-attacking game. If we didn't, people would not have been insulting Chinwendu for missing opportunities. People would not have been saying Rashida should have scored against Spain. A lot of the things I think goes down to our organization and our preparation. But yeah, if you want to share your thoughts, the link has been posted. So please call in. We'll take some callers very quickly, and then I'll have to hop off because I'm coming back on at 10 p.m. Nigerian time for the Niger FC podcast. But I just wanted to have this post-match brief and review of the game we just watched between Portugal and the Super Falcons of Nigeria. So please, a lot of you guys that know how to insult people in the comments, that know how to insult players in the comments, I always encourage you, if you're allowed in the comments, call in. Let us see your face. Let us hear your voice. Come and talk football. Come and analyze the game. Don't be a keyboard warrior. I encourage you because let me name some names. Emmanuel Etuk has been loud in the comments, saying a lot of things. Call in. Ola 19, you've been talking a lot in the comments. Call in. Let's hear what you have to say. Who else has been talking a lot in the comments? There's some of you guys that have been very loud in the comments, saying some good things or some bad things. Call in. Let's hear your voice. Let's see your face. Let's talk football for the next 20 minutes before we wrap up this post-match show. But okay, while I'm waiting for those people that I just mentioned to call in, I have one of our dear contributors on the channel already waiting to go. So welcome, Mr. Dinoso.
Yeah, so how you doing,
I'm
my
very well. How are
brother?
you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you.
So I'm going to assume that you watched the game.
I watched kind of snippets of it. Not really into it. I wasn't expecting much out of it. Our chances of winning this AFCON is very much compromised
Hmm.
already. If we are to win AFCON, we'll have to be creative with what we have. And that can only happen with a formation of almost like a false nine. I'm looking at this squad and all I'm seeing is playing a false nine because out of the six midfielders on that list, five of them should be starting. With just one out of the six or seven strikers that they listed. The way I look at it, Christie should be in that team. Allende is the backbone of that midfield. She should be there. Shegini should play a little bit advanced with Deborah. Ajibade should be there. And Tony Penn is the key to winning
Hmm.
AFCON. I am surprised that I'm saying that. Tony Penn is the key to winning AFCON because Tony Penn has gotten better playing from the left. Put him where her strength is and put in Rinsola Babajide to start the attack. Let Ajibade flank from the right. If we ever play two strikers from this list, we're not winning AFCON at all.
Hmm.
Our strength is in the midfield. Let us play to our strength.
Okay, I'm going to say this here. So you are saying you want to see Tony Payne on the left, you want to see Babajide through the middle.
Right.
No, Babajide, no, Ajibade. Rinsola.
Rinsola through the
Okay,
middle
but here's the
as
thing
our
here.
striker.
Rinsola is not a number nine naturally. I know you are saying we should play a false nine, but Rinsola's strengths
Yes.
are with her pace, her dribbling. I'll say maybe her shooting and maybe her crossing a little bit. The way we play, again, I'm assuming that things are going to improve when everybody is on the field, but we don't connect too well with our strikers as of now. And if Resola is playing up front, I fear that she'll be very isolated and will not even get involved in the game. She is not a physical presence like maybe an Onumonu, or maybe even an Oshwala. Those are players that, worst comes to worst, you can even just play a long ball to them, ask them to try to hold up the play a little bit and link with the wide players. And then Ajibade or whoever is playing from the flank can do well. But if Resola is there, I don't really think that she will get too involved in the game unless we drastically improve our midfield play. So I think it could be a tricky one. And then even talking about Tony Payne, it's interesting because when I did my breakdown, I said I want to see how the coach is going to use Tony Payne and Guinea because I don't know who he wants to play. I think that you'll probably see in our midfield we have Ayinde, we have Uchebe, we have Abiodun. Three of those players, any two out of the three, people will argue that Abiodun must start. Some people will argue Ayinde must start. Some people will argue that Uchebe must start. He cannot play. He
You
cannot
see
play three
what
of them at the same
you see
time.
what I'm
He can't
talking
play all three
about?
because we need a little bit of attacking quality in the midfield.
Where is our
So
strength? Is
he
what
needs
you're
to
saying.
find a way to fit Echegini or Tony Payne, somebody in that midfield. I think I
Yeah.
think Echegini is probably going to have the shirt ahead of Tony Payne. Honestly, that's just my own feeling right now. We have to wait and see what the coach does. But I think we might be best served playing Babajide from the left, Rashidat Ajibade from the right, and then playing with maybe an Okoronkwo
Is
or
what
I mean Ihezu. I don't know. I'm not the most convinced about her. I like her. She scores goals at her club, but I'm not her biggest fan. I personally I can't say Oshuala because I think Oshuala for me right now is better served coming on for the last 5
but we
minutes
you know that we have not seen Ihezuo in an African
environment.
football
Well,
frame.
it's an interesting debate, but I think I want to watch the Ghana game. I want to see what the coach
Exactly.
does in the Ghana game, and then we can understand a bit more the kind of tactics that he has. Because the way he used Ajibade today, I see the vision small, but it doesn't bring out the best of her qualities. And Ajibade is, whether we like it or not, she is still our biggest threat as of today. We're hoping that Echegini can
Mm.
show us quality because we know Echegini is a good player. And if Ajibade plays well, if Echegini plays well, if Babajide plays well, we can have something going for us up front. But
If you play the think of the backbone of having a Shegini and Christie. These are very two strong defensive midfielder and can offer you something going
mm,
forward. And in front of them, you have very players that are very physical that can win you balls in a building and a Chegine. That is, you take advantage of that. And if you have four of these girls in a game, you will win a lot of balls and you will retain a lot of balls. And when you have ball retention, you have a better chance of creating something for the person that is your isolated striker. This team is not built, this squad does not seem like a squad that will thrive playing two strikers.
no, they can't play two strikers. It's going to be one striker. We're going to most likely we're going to play some variation of a 4-3-3. It can be a 4-2-3-1. It can be a 4-1-2-3. But it's going to be some variation of a 4-3-3. Mr. Adino, so let me just bring on Eniola. Let me hear what he has to say.
What do you think about Chioma Okafor?
The thing is, I have to see her. I'm not going to lie and tell you that I watch college football. I don't watch college football, but I've watched some of her highlights. But I need to see her on a professional setting. The thing is, I was saying it is
Mm.
interesting because Coach Madugu is stealing one from the playbook of Coach Waldrum. Because I remember when Waldrum first called the college girls Echegini, people were saying, why is he calling these university players that can you call somebody from Unilag to play for Super Eagles? People were complaining about it. But we've seen how
Mm.
Echegini was a star and she has become a very good player. So,
I believe you and I have the same belief when it comes to this
mm.
selection. Choma Okafor will surprise so many people. I believe Shoma Okafor is the type of, it's more like an Amokachi of the female football. We've been looking for a player capable of playing as a shoulder striker in Falcons, and we
Mm,
found her.
mm. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Dinoso. Always nice to hear from you.
All right, my brother, you
All
take
right.
care.
So a lot said, Mr. Dinoso, but it's going to be interesting to see how the coach makes the selection at the end of the day. Let me just quickly read some comments. Somebody said Uchebe can always sub in. The reality of it is that 90% of the time Uchebe is going to start. That's just the reality. Her quality should not be understated. We've seen what she can do. 90% of the time she's going to start. Yeah. Eniola, welcome. Can you hear me, Eniola?
All right.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I
What did
can
you
hear
think?
you. All right. Okay, for me, the game is just, I believe Nigerian female team can do more, like you mentioned. And for me, the second half was just the better time for Super Falcon because the first half, when I saw it, I was a bit scared because when I'm seeing, because watching female football, people don't really talk about it. But when I was reading those comments and when I see that the administration, one of the things that is affecting the ladies, because how would somebody come in 8 hours, 5 hours, and you expect a very good game? That won't work because I believe when they have much time, jet lag, they will calm their nerves, everything will be fine, and that will give them more time. They will be able to recuperate and they will do well. And for me, today game is just like, should I call it? I believe they will do well. I believe they will do well in the AFCON. And I pray that, okay, the two team I'm scared of in the AFCON is just South Africa and Morocco. But if we can just manage the administrative part of Super Falcons, everything will be fine. And another thing, the formation. How will Tony Payne be playing? That's not a strength. And because we already know Tony Payne she comes from the midfield, and so those players. Most of these players today, they play out of their position. So that's also things that affected the players. So, and I believe when they rest and everybody is in camp and everything will be fine. I believe, and people that criticize them will now see that, oh, this is it when they've rested, bro. So that's just it for me. Thank you.
No. All right. And before you go, let me just ask you this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, don't judge just because of today's
Okay.
match, but what's your confidence level in terms of the kind
Okay.
of performance that you expect from the team at the WAFCON?
On the scale of 1 to 10, I won't tell you. From 1 to 10, I would say 7.5.
Mm.
7.5 because I believe we are still getting there. Most of our passes they are not clicking. As there are some times when those Portugal, when you see ladies passing, the bumpy balls, you pass and the ball will be bouncing. So some of those things. So, and that's why I give 7.5 for me. I think
Mm.
7.5 is good, and I think they can work on that.
All right. Thank you very much,
7.5.
Anila. Nice to hear from
Yeah.
you. Okay. I have Bolaji waiting as well. Welcome, Bolaji. Are you there? Hello? I don't hear you, Bolaji. Okay, Bolaji, I think there's issues with your mic. I don't know if you have earphones on or something, but if you do, you might need to take them off. Just let me know when you are ready, and then I can bring you back on. If you have earphones on, you have to take them out because sometimes they mess with the audio. Let me just quickly go back to the comments before I bring Bolaji back on. Somebody says, from what I saw today, I will go with Abiodun and Ainde for pairing Uchebe to come on. I honestly can't lie, I'm a bit biased, but I would always start Uchebe. Abiodun still a learn work from Uchebe, but I will admit that I have some bias towards Uchebe. I'm man enough to admit that, but still, I think I would start. Even just throw it back to the World Cup. After Abiodun unfortunately got sent off in the first game against Canada, we still saw the work that Uchebe and Ainde did in that midfield together. Abiodun is a very good player, but I think that the coach might actually favor Abiodun and Uchebe, is what I think that the coach might do. Ainde, if you follow women's football, you will know that Halimatu Ainde was injured for a very long time. She had a long-term injury. She only came back and played. She has only played 9 games after coming back from injury before playing this game today. So that might be a reason why the coach benches her at the tournament, because maybe she's not back to 100% in terms of sharpness and things like that. But I'm going to, tip Uchebe to start most of the time. Okay. Bolaji, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you
Now we can hear you.
hear me
Yes.
now?
Well,
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. So I also watched the game. I have some things I want to say. I think, like you said earlier, some people just come in the comment and just say some things. First of all, you mentioned something good European thing like that. I think let's understand that. The last Nations League, they were trashed by, and I think Spain,
Spain,
they were
yeah.
trashed. So yeah, so I don't think we should use that as a yardstick and saying you played against a very good Portugal team. And I'm happy you haven't listed all the factors that might be, that might affect our performance. Like, okay, these people, our player just came back and everything. But for me, from the starting lineup here, I want to say I don't think we are really utilizing HA games, in my opinion. I feel like from what I've seen, watched her when she this last season at PSG, I think she can be a proper bowler for Nigeria. And I know that here we have Peche Guinea now. I think she can really cause a lot of damage to the attack, in our attack. I think the major issue, and we kind of had that against World Drum, is, like you said, transitioning from defense to attack. I don't think we have really gotten that yet. I think, in my opinion, during the Olympics, like you said, our condition was perfect. The only issue we had was, fine, we didn't take our chances, but our coordination also, getting the ball from defense to attack. I think that if we can work on that for the WAFCON, because for me, in my opinion, I think we have the best squad out of all the WAFCON team. I believe in Nigerian squad in terms of quality now. I think from defense to attack, I think we have the best squad.
On paper,
So looking
yes.
on paper, we should be favourite to win. But in my people actually said we are not favorites, and I understand why. Because when you watch our game, that's the tactical part of the game. I don't know. Maybe we can't see it. Even though we have the quality, but we can't see that tactical. I know I've not watched Africa in a long time, but I think when we watched them at the last WAFCON, like or Morocco, these people, like the way they play tactically, they understand what they are doing. So I feel if we can really get that. It's about the coach. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Let me know blast him or see anything. Let's wait and see. But I think you need to work on that. You need to look at the strength of our players. Who can
Yeah.
Odega coming back to the squad, I think is a good one. I think she's good. She had a very good season in Saudi Arabia, so I think she will definitely bring a positive impact to the squad. Have them living games money. That's in the past. I think this is the wrong decision, but let's not talk about that. But I think we have enough attacking force that we can use to score goals. I don't want to use today's game. Like you said, we didn't really play, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I just look. I'm just looking forward to the WAFCON. I think like I said, we have a very good squad. We can win that WAFCON. Another thing I want to say also, I look at our social media page. We are carrying this X
Edition
winning the
X.
10th one. I don't think, yeah, this X. I see that it's good. Of course, we carried it on our head. The last WAFCON, we didn't win that. So I don't want to. I don't know if I don't want to make it like turn to pressure on the form of. I know, of course, these are professional players. So they deal with pressure. But let's not just carry it too much in our head. Like, okay, 10th, I'm going for the number 10. Let's just go and play our game. Because to be honest with you, last WAFCON, we thought it was only South Africa that who else is a good team. You saw what Morocco did. You saw what Zambia did. Both of them beat us. This, and I want to make a bold prediction now in this WAFCON because African football is also growing. I'm very sure we will see one or two other nations that will surprise everybody in this WAFCON. I don't know who they are. In our group now we have, I think, Algeria. I've not watched them play, but maybe we watch that game.
No,
We'll just be
no,
surprised.
Algeria.
You see where they are playing.
We always beat Algeria. But see that's the
Okay,
for
Algeria.
our group stage. I'm not too like with all due respect to our opponents. I'm not too concerned about our
Yeah.
group stage because we always beat them. Botswana, those ones 0 will give them. Tunisia will maybe beat Tunisia like 2-1, 3-1. So I'm not too concerned about group stage, but it's when we get into the knockouts. For me, that's when things can get tricky because you can easily get a South Africa, a Morocco, a Zambia, and then any of those teams can be very threatening. And just I have to let you go now, but I'll
Exactly.
just say
You're
something
right.
to your point here. One of the things that you said, the attacking part of the game, and this is what I've kind of learned from speaking to a few coaches. They always
Yeah.
say coaching defense is relatively easy, quote unquote, because you have to teach positioning.
Yeah.
You have to let people know where to be, and then they translate it into the game. But coaching attack, getting a team to actually play and move the ball properly is something that is, requires more time and requires more intentionality about it. And that's why I keep saying that if we don't have enough training sessions, if the coach actually has attacking
That's
ideas,
true.
if we don't have enough training sessions, it is going to be hard for the coach to be able to implement whatever ideas that he might have. Otherwise, we're just going to ask the players, oh yeah, Ajibade, you play Atletico Madrid now. Babajide, you play Tenerife. Echegen, you play PSG. You suppose no attack now. So just go and play ball and make it work. It's not going to be easy. I mean, Morocco, we saw how last WAFCON, Morocco's football, they played good football. The issue in Morocco is that they don't have
Beautiful
the talent.
football, but
They don't have the
they
talents that
couldn't
Nigeria
score.
has.
Yeah,
They don't have the talents that we have. But
they
imagine
didn't have the quality to score.
if Morocco had our kind
Exactly.
of talent with the kind of football that they play, and their
They
coach
will,
now.
they will have won that WAFCON. You're right.
Morocco's coach at the last WAFCON was I think his name is Pedro, the former coach of Lyon
Pedro,
that won like 5 or 4
Champions League.
Champions Leagues. Then their current coach now
Yeah.
is the former coach of Spain.
They won the World Cup with Spain.
So
Yeah.
that's an organization that that they are serious. They
This
want
one,
to
they know
win.
what they are doing. They are
They
serious,
want
exactly.
they just don't have the same level
They
of
have
talent. That's just their own
the same
issue.
quality.
But well,
You have
it,
said
it
it
it can
perfectly.
go anyway, but we look forward to it. And I mean, we can't forget South Africa. Let me not disrespect the defending champions. They are always
I know,
contenders.
South Africa.
They are always
Yeah, South
contenders.
Africa. They will definitely
Thank,
want to defend the title.
thank you, Bolaji. I have to let you
So
go so I
definitely,
can
it's
take
going to be interesting.
other people quickly.
Yeah, no problem.
So
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
All right. Let me quickly go to the comments and then Mr. Miracle, I'll bring you on. Colin Udoh says he wants to talk Super Falcons. Okay. I have to bring Colin. I'll post the link again. When somebody like Colin Udoh is there, I have to hear what he has to say. But yeah, Bola Akombi says Zambia's front line is scary. We cannot underrate Zambia's attack, man. No. So I think for me, Zambia is one of those teams that that they can easily score 3 goals in a game, but they can also go and concede 5. That's the thing with Zambia. They have good players. You cannot underrate the Bandas. You cannot underrate Kundanaji. But I just think that they always have that tendency to still concede goals. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. WAFCON teams like Ghana. I forget Ghana, but the rest of the teams, I still have to respect them. But yes, welcome, sir, Mr. Miracle.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, I wonder why we quickly dismiss a team. Obviously, they play to full strength, and apart from that, this is not the actual team. That another thing is that it has given the coach, to know the strength of some of these players. Odega coming back into the team, to me, she has added more pep into the strength of the team and the attack. And well, we are not the coach. The coach is in a better position to assess and know the strength of these players. And moreover, to me, today's match is not too bad. It's a very good match to me. At least for me, it's a good match because you could see that the coach played different people in not their actual positions, but they did well. The first half was not it, but the second half you could see how they played. But as I said, the coach is in a better position. I just wonder why we Nigerians just we're always quick to dismiss our team. They all need to be encouraged. Trolling players and saying they are not good, that's not it. You don't encourage players like that. It affects their psyche. So, well, to me, as I said, it's a relatively good match because the only problem I just saw in that team is that they were too much in a hurry to get to pass the ball. Even ball control at times is just a hell of a problem for some of them. But well, by the time the team plays together, they still have a couple of days. Their strength will come up. You see how they'll play. And
so you are still feeling very confident.
Yeah, sure, pretty confident because I can see the coach. I can see what he's trying to bring out. At least with this match, I'm not what the match is, but I can see what he has. been able to bring out from some of these players. So to me, I'm optimistic. Yeah, if we don't win, I know we get, well, don't let me even say we will not win. No. Very positive. The team will go all the way.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Miracle. Nice to hear from you.
Thank you.
All right. Let me just quickly see. People are saying Congo will shock people. Botswana is Botswana. I'm not scared of Botswana. I like to respect all my opponents, but I personally am not scared of Botswana. But let's hear what Mr. Colin Udoh has to say about this. Welcome.
Hello, Ayo. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You've been doing a fantastic job. So,
Thank you.
I mean, usually when I'm not doing post-game chats on, I mean, that's a long time ago, but I'm not writing post-game reports. Yeah, catching up with you and your community, to listen. So let me just say, first of all, that you're doing a fantastic job, and congratulations to you. It's amazing. This is what we want to see. We want to see more people getting in and offering analysis and insight into what's going on, just so and give the fans a chance to also come in and air their views. I think I was doing that on Twitter back, and then life happens. But let me leave that and come down to the minute. I agree with a lot of what you've said, and it's always important to have context for everything, right? In this case, I'm going to first admit that I wasn't quite happy with the way the team played. That's because you can see there's a lot of little details that need to be sorted out, the team going to WAFCON. But to also contextualize that, the team only arrived, a day ago for this game. I haven't really had time to practice that much. And then if we look at the starting team, you can actually get an idea of seeing that the coach is trying to maybe play some of his non-starters and take a look at them ahead of WAFCON, because we know that the starters are either not here, did not get there on time, or he just wants to look at the other one. So I'm quite happy with that now. That said, there's also still a bit of here and there that I thought could have been better. I wasn't very happy with the defense. They just kept getting opened up time and time again. They were getting pulled wide and just didn't seem to know how to respond until Ashley Plumter came on and plugged that left side a little bit. Centrally, whenever there's a vertical ball or something high over the top, they just were not able to deal with it. And if it wasn't for Chidozie, we would have been like at least 3 goals down.
Even in that first half, yeah?
Exactly. So that's something to look at, because when I look at that game, I think of someone like Barbara Banda, and I can see her licking her lips just thinking about that defense. Because if you see the way she plays in the NWSL, like, she can hurt you in so many different ways. She can take the ball and run at your defense. She can go out wide, pick the ball up and get at you. She can run in behind the defense with those long balls. And once she gets going, there's nobody who can stop her.
And she has distance shooting as well.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I say she can hurt you in so many different ways. So someone like Barbara Banda would look at this Nigeria defense and lick her lips and think, okay, buffet, let's go and chop. The only person I think that can stop her in that defense is Nadozie, to be honest with you. And even that is only if she has some limited time. Because look at the game, the ball that 1v1 that Portugal forward had against Jamaica. All she had to do was keep her head and go and shoot her. If that was Barbara Banda, that's a goal. So I think that, like I said, we have to put all of this in context, in the sense that, it's still, the coach is still sort of like trying out other players. And we saw what happened when Plumter came in and kind of like plugged some of those holes. We know that someone like Chris Uchebe is much better sitting deep rather than, trying to orchestrate play from the front. And if she's anchoring with, say, Deborah Abiodun, we'll probably have a bit more stability down at the back. And I want to see Ajibade is one of our better players. I want to see her going forward a little bit more, rather than trying to, sit deep and try to, create stuff from deep. You saw when she got one in there, almost got herself injured. And contrary to popular opinion, Odega was actually one of our better attacking threats today. Like, she was quick, she was aware, and our best chance at goal was from her. That ball that came from the goalkeeper, she took it one time and it came off the
if she scored that,
it came off the bar, yeah. So she was one of our better attacking threats. And so I think that as much as we tend to go off at coaches for their decisions and their selection, irrespective of what happens, give a little bit of an opportunity to see what the players actually do on the pitch before making a call. And I think that based on her body of work in Russia and in Saudi Arabia, Odega made herself hard to not pick, for this team, for the coach. Where I would have complaints, and that's for somebody who has watched a little bit of college football and seen, would be the selection of Chioma Okafor over Gift Monday. There's no reality, in my opinion, where you select Chioma Okafor over Gift Monday. I mean, I don't care how many goals or what Chioma Okafor has done at college level. Yeah, you don't pick her over Gift Monday. First of all, Gift Monday has played internationally for Nigeria at junior level. She has played at senior level. You remember the Aisha Buhari Cup, her debut? She came on, we're down 3-1 to Mali, and she came in and she scored 2 goals. Speed, header, getting in behind the defense. She showed you what she was able to do there. And that was as a home-based player at that time. She wasn't even a pro playing in Europe. And then she goes to Europe, and she does the same thing with Tenerife, scoring goals, moves to Washington Spirit, where you expect that, she's going to be overwhelmed by the occasion, playing with the likes of Rodman and co. But she goes there, and by whatever chance or opportunity that she got, she takes her opportunities, played and she's scoring, not just scoring goals, but she's a starter for that team, and she's creating opportunities for others, even if you're not direct assists. So when you look at all that, and then you put that against Chioma Okonkwo, whose biggest claim to fame is playing for UConn. First of all, UConn, when it comes to soccer, are not like UConn are not a powerhouse, a soccer powerhouse in the US soccer. When you talk about soccer, you talk about the likes of USC, Florida State. Those are the powerhouses of soccer. UConn is a basketball powerhouse, not a soccer powerhouse. So, and the game she's played in and done all of that is in their little subdivision, not even at the national level, where Echegini played for FSU. Yeah. FSU was like the top school. They won the championship. So that's different from Chioma. So there's no reality for me where you pick Chioma Okafor over Gift Monday. And when you look at the way our attack was today, until Onumonu came on, we created 0. And I say absolutely 0 up front until no one who came on and offered a bit of threat in combination with Odega. So I think that there's no way that anybody can justify Chioma Okafor.
So can I ask you a question, Colin? Because with Chioma Okafor, like I was saying earlier, I'm not going to lie to anybody and say I watch college football. I don't. When I saw the list, I was surprised. Even though her name had kind of been in the media a little bit before, like, there's this Malawian Nigerian girl, blah, blah. But I was surprised. And it really caught me off guard because usually when something like this happens, people would maybe want to attribute it to Oyinbo coach. He thinks that the ones that are in college are better than the ones that we have, things like that. But this is very contrary to the case. Coach Madugu is a Nigerian man. He is somebody that, in fact, people like myself have said in the past that he likes to show a preference to players that have that play in the Nigerian league or that used to play in the Nigerian league to kind of put out the image that there's quality coming out of the Nigerian league. And then he goes and picks her out of nowhere. Like you mentioned, a player like Gift Monday misses out. What could have really sparked that? Is it that they did not want to lose her to Malawi? What exactly could have sparked that?
So I have absolutely no idea. And by the way, to address your last point about I feel losing her to Malawi, we have so much talent from a woman's point of view, that are eligible to play for Nigeria or even in Nigeria, that losing one player is not going to be the be all and end all for us. Besides, she had already committed her future to Nigeria. And if you must do that, start her at, get her for a friendly game. But, she hasn't even played a friendly game for Nigeria, for crying out loud, and you're putting her in a squad. The first thing you do with someone like that, at least get her for a friendly, take a look at her at close range. But okay, I'll tell you something. So I tried to call Justin Madigo and I couldn't get to him, but I did kind of talk to a couple of folks in there. And what I got is that they've seen her videos, they've watched her games. Now, there's no substitute for watching a player at close range. You can watch all the videos you like as a coach, but there's no substitute for getting a first-hand view of a player at close range. So if you want to give her a chance to compete for Nigeria, we've had a number of friendly games, get her in, let her come and play, and then let's take a look at her and see what she's able to do on the field, playing in the green, white, green.
Mm.
Because here's the thing. I've been in this business long enough, to sort of like have experience with these matters. You call players, whether it's men's players or women's players, they're scoring great goals in their at club side. They come to the national team and they freeze. And I can give you many examples. Richard Ubokri, for instance. Ubokri was tearing up Portugal back in the day. They called him to the Super Eagles and he just could not, make the same impact as Yekini was. And he was a more established striker in Portugal than Yekini. Peter EJ in Sweden. Peter EJ was top scorer in Sweden consecutively. They called to the Super Eagles to play in a friendly game, and it was a funny story. I don't know, for some reason, in his own case, whether because he was on holiday, he ate too much or whatever it is, he was falling all over the place at the National Stadium. Didn't make it. So I can run through a list of this, but I'm not going
to. That's what people are currently saying is the case for Victor Boniface as well.
Exactly. Boniface is a recent example. We can even look at Victor Ikpeba when he was, although Ikpeba's case, there were some issues going around there, but look at when Victor Ikpeba was scoring goals for Monaco. He would come to Nigeria, either they starve him of the ball or he just couldn't make the same kind of impact that he was making at Monaco, even as African Player of the Year. So the list goes on and on. So, and then now you look at, these are all fully blown. Paul Anuachu is another example, So we're talking fully blown pros who have had great experience playing and delivering at senior level, and they come to the national team and they just couldn't cut it. And then you go pick someone who has not even done that at pro level, and then you take them not to a friendly game, but straight into a tournament. It just doesn't make sense in any way. So, like I said, I spoke to somebody and a couple of the folks in the back room, to kind of like get an idea of where this was coming from. And some of the explanation that I kind of getting was that they see her as somebody who can provide multiple options in terms of versatility. She can play up front, she can play wide, and she can also play a little bit in the middle, whereas Gift can only play as a forward. And on top of that, Gift hasn't exactly been as impactful as when she's come to the national team. Now, I get that is their explanation, or at least what passes for an explanation, but I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it because, first of all, I know Gift cannot just get stuck in the middle. Gift can play wide. She's got the speed. She's got the foot skills. She can play wide. She can play centrally. And if you want to push her back and let her play sort of like a second striker, she can do that as well. Gift is more established and has more experience playing against some of the top players in the world, as opposed to someone like Okafor or Ijamilusi, for instance. And then Gift has delivered at that level. And so that's why I said, and again, there were also reports that she was injured. She was never injured. She had a couple of knocks. Like the last game I watched, I was at her last game in DC when they played against Portland, and then they won against North Carolina. Yeah, the last game was against the North Carolina Courage, where she went down, she scored, and then she went down a little bit. Yeah, but it was just a little knock. After the game, she was fine. Within a few minutes, she was back again. And by the next day, yesterday, Sunday night, she played full 90 minutes at San Diego Whip. So there's no way anybody can say it's injury. And then all of these other reasons, like I said, I don't buy it. So there might be other reasons for them doing that, but I think it's wrong. And I was telling my friend Ademola Lajuri at the NFF the other day that, look, the reason why coaches do this and they get away with it is because they can hide behind an email sending out squad lists to the media. If we're able to get them, like most people do, to answer questions about why they're making these selections, they might be a bit hesitant about making selections they cannot defend. Because to be honest, this is indefensible. And unfortunately, I wish we had someone in Portugal who could actually be at the post-match press conference or whatever and ask about to go, okay, what is your rationale behind this selection? So we can at least see whether it makes sense or not. But I'm sorry, I think I've taken too much of your time. You should have your other people come. Let me not monopolize.
No. I'm enjoying what you're saying. It's funny because I'm supposed to start another show.
You see, that's what I'm saying.
I want to get your thought on something else. So you've mentioned the whole Choma Okafor situation now, but people were doubtful of Miracle Lusane's inclusion in the squad. And Rafia Timura, for example, who has played at the World Cup and everything, misses out. Today, I don't want to judge her based off of one game, but I don't think she covered herself in any glory today.
She did not.
In the first half, she was just getting harassed on that side. It was almost as if the Portuguese pointed and said, okay, this is where we are going to score our goal from. Because they almost just left Oladipo alone on the other side and they were focused on her. I know that you followed these players, you followed the team. Do you have confidence that should Ashley, on knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but should Ashley get injured or suspended, maybe 2 yellow cards, or do you have enough confidence that she can come in? Because if we're playing against a team like South Africa, if we're playing against a team like Zambia that have good attacking quality, can she do a job for us from that left side?
At this point, I'd say no. I've seen a few of her games and I thought that she was promising. But again, the lack of high level experience too. You remember I mentioned that it was only until Ashley came on that we're able to stabilize on that side. Yeah, so because it was clear to see. They sort of identified her very quickly as the biggest weakness in our team, and everything just kept going through there. And they were each time it went through there, they kept getting past her. And to make matters worse, her support, which was Risola Babajide, is also inexperienced at international. This is I think, a second international that this is. So she wasn't doing enough of a good job coming back to help her. So it was just a whole mess happening down there until we had that sub where Ashley came on and kind of stopped. And then I think they kind of switched Odega in second. Odega now kind of switched and came back here. So Odega brought that experience, and then Ashley. I mean, you saw them trying to get past. There was one occasion where they tried to get past Ashley, Ashley just slid in there and just won the ball off of the defender. She wasn't doing that. So that's a big concern. And it begs the question again, why do you leave Rafiat out? Rafiat has experience at junior level, and then she's also played at senior level and played at the World Cup. So unless she's injured or has dropped form so much that she can't compete, why are you not taking somebody with international experience, high-level competition experience, major tournament experience, to a tournament that you want to win, and instead you're taking David? And we've seen with Ashley that Ashley can play and squeeze every drop of blood out from herself to play in that team and do well. And again, she's not a natural left back. She's a center back. The reason why Randy played her left back was because, like he said, he didn't have enough of strength in that left back position, and he needed somebody with the defensive strength and the speed to play there and actually cover that, even though it was not a natural position.
And the intelligence.
Exactly. Now you have Rafiat, who is Imran, who was being groomed to be that person that would not allow Ashley to move to her natural center back, where she is really good, and even as she can even play holding midfield as well if need be. And then you drop her and you bring somebody with even less experience who has been exposed by Portugal. Let's not forget, again, like I was talking about Barbara Banda, she would look at that kid and think, oh my goodness, buffet. Because Barbara has speed, she has foot skills, she has on-field awareness, her spatial awareness is amazing, and she would murder that kid. Like you said, one game is not enough of a sample size to judge her, but the fact that Portugal were able to spot it so quickly and push things to that side and punish her would make things a bit of a problem going to the tournament, because if you have quicker players, I mean, we're probably not going to see players of the likes of Banda and so on
until the knockouts.
Yeah, until the knockout, but it's still a concern because Ashley, again, you talk about injury. What if Ashley gets injured, picks up 2 yellow cards, and can't play, and then we put her there, and then we're exposing ourselves to big trouble.
And just a miracle, like I was saying, for me, I think what's even more so concerned me, let's even say, okay, things like sharpness, you might put down to travel and all those things. But I was more concerned about the bad judgment, stepping up when you don't have to step up, rushing, getting, there's this thing when you watch youth football, you see how players always get too attracted to the ball. And you put it down to, okay, this person just has not played high enough, to know that sometimes you have to hold back. And for her to be doing it again, I don't want to knock on anybody's parade. I'm sure she and her family are excited about the fact that she gets to represent Nigeria at the WAFCON. But for me, as a fan and just observing, I'm a little bit cautious because even when the squad list was initially announced, I did a video talking about the whole squad. I had people in my comments telling me she's miles ahead of Rafiat, she's miles ahead of Alozie. Somebody even said she's miles ahead of every other fullback that we have. So I said, okay, fine, let me watch. And then watching today, I'm just like, I don't know, and like you said, we need at some point, I know that yes, Osnacho Hale is still doing a good job for us, but at some point, Osnacho Hale is going to be out of the team. Ashley Plumter is probably going to have to pair with Tosin Dimei. Obviously, now we have Oladipo who are bringing up as well. But we a lot of the time talk about how, why don't we transition players? Why don't we transition players? And we had a player that we're transitioning, and then all of a sudden it seems like we've now pushed that to the side and we say, okay, let's try the transition with somebody else. I mean, ultimately,
And at a major tournament, look, I totally agree with you. We're not trying to bring on anyone's parade, and this is where it's important for us to have a coach. When you bring out a squad list, especially for a tournament, you sit down for at least an hour and talk to journalists and answer questions so that we can at least see the rationale. It happens everywhere. Even the US, when they get a squad list, the coach sits down and has a back and forth and discuss, oh, this is why I did this is why I did that, this is the reason why I did this. And in Europe, it's the same thing. You sit down with the coach. It's not about being antagonistic and say, oh, why did you pick this instead of this one? Why should this one deserve to be? No, it's about saying, okay, look, you did this. Can we have a little bit of an idea into your thinking behind why this happened, so that we too can also have a better understanding? The problem we have in Nigeria is that there's too much of a secret cult kind of thing around information. Nobody wants. People feel like if they give information, they're going to get in trouble. But we really want to understand. Because a lot of what we're doing now, you and I and everybody else, is speculating. Oh, this one could have done this one could have done that. But we need to have an understanding of why the coach makes the decisions that he makes, and that's part of what we miss with Randy. If I sit down, unfortunately, Randy too, sometimes he didn't always speak, but when he did speak, he asked him these questions. Randy always gave what amounts to a reasonable explanation for doing what he did.
Whether or not you agree, at least
exactly. Well, you might disagree with him, and that's the one thing I like, because I remember when they played against the USA and stuff, and we were talking, and credit to him, because I was upset, and we're having that post game, and I asked him a couple of questions, and I guess I probably would have come out like really antagonistic in the way I asked the question, even though I was polite. But to his credit, he was calm, he answered, he gave some very good responses, and I didn't agree with all of them, but when I took a step back and kind of like put myself in his shoes, I kind of understood where he was coming from. And that's all we ask of these coaches. Nobody's fighting you. I don't care. You're the one who gets paid, win or lose. You're the one who's going to lose your job or lose money or whatever. But for us, let's at least understand your rationale for doing this. Look, Choma Okafor can go to the WAFCON now and become the breakout star. She can go there, boom. Her first game, she comes as a sub and helps us win an important game, and we're all going to be happy. But let's at least understand why you made that decision over the other person. The same thing with Rafiat. Let's understand why you made that decision over of not picking Rafiat. Exactly, I'm picking Otani. So, but we don't have that, and that's why I think that this whole hoarding of information thing is not where we should be. And to be honest, I've raised that with the NFF multiple times. In fact, there was a time where we actually had the Super Eagles, I think it was either Keshi or Siasi, actually do a press conference with a squad release. And after a couple of times, it didn't happen anymore, because I think they were scared of answering questions. And in some ways, the media was also to blame, because instead of asking questions in a reasonable way, people were asking questions in what amounted to be like, an aggressive, antagonistic way. So it's difficult when that happens. But I think it's something we need to get back to. Let's try to understand the thinking and the rationale behind some of these decisions.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Corey.
You're welcome.
Emmanuel.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Emmanuel, very quickly, because we have to hop off in a few minutes. What's your contribution?
Yeah, my contribution is that um, we should give the coach a chance to just let us see what he can do, and if he proves himself right, he will not want to invite a particular player that will make him not to win the competition. That is one thing. I know you have a program. That's why I'm just making a statement. I have a lot to say maybe next time, but let us believe in the coach at least. Let's see what he has to do. I mean, the time is
Okay.
very short for him.
If you have a lot
That is
to
it. So
say,
go for your program.
yeah,
Thank you so
if
much
you
for
have a
giving me
lot
the
to
chance to
say,
talk.
once this live ends, I'm going to start another live. But I have to break it up because that one is for a podcast that is a different show entirely. So you can still come on that podcast and share your thoughts.
Okay.
We are going to talk about Super Falcons as well, but we're also going to talk about some other topics. So if you want to share more, you can join the live once this one ends. Immediately after, I'm coming live again on the podcast, and then there will be more time for you to talk on
Okay.
that.
I will join you. I think I will join you. I will track you and join you.
All right. Thank you very
That's
much.
it.
All right. Mr. Colin, very nice to hear from you as well, man. Thank you very much for
Yeah, thank you
coming
very
on.
much. And I'm sorry that I took so much of your time because I know that you have a lot of people who are wanting to come on. So I apologize to you.
Well,
And I apologize to them also.
I like hearing from people like yourself because I know that you guys have a lot of insights and you've been there, you kind of know more about how these things are being done. And it was nice to hear from you. And for everyone that's watching right now, please join after this live on the Nigeria FC podcast. But even if you're not going to join, just be aware. I don't know if you heard this, Colin, but I have an interview with Coach Randy Wardrum that is going to premiere on our channel on Wednesday. So if you guys want to hear from Randy Wardrum, I know some people don't like him, but whether I like him or not, I think this interview was mostly talking about the NFF, his time at Super Falcons, and just a lot of the things that he went through, up until before and up until the point where he called them out in public, and even after the aftermath of all of that. It was a very insightful conversation, and a lot of the things, unfortunately, that he spoke about, things that are still happening today, like the way we are saying that the girls are arriving 8 hours before a match and they just have to rest and then go on the field. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, if people like myself, people like Colin and other people in the media, if we don't put these things out to the public, the blame always just goes on the players and the coach at the end of the day. Some people today were already saying, oh, the coach is useless. Why is he playing this player here? Why is he not playing that player there? He did not have any option again. He pretty much did the best that he could do with the tools that were available to him at the time. People were saying, oh, why is he not making subs? Because his bench was empty. He essentially had to use only the players that are available. So please, guys, watch out for that one. It's going to be on Wednesday. Thank you very much, Colin, man. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. I'll be looking out for that conversation with Waldron. I know I had a similar conversation with him. I think it was soon. Was it soon after he resigned or before? I'm not sure. Which I haven't published. I mean, I did publish some excerpts on ESPN, but I haven't published like the full video of that. So I'll be looking out for yours as well.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much, guys. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the game. Portugal 0, Nigeria 0. The first of our two pre-WAFCON friendlies. And of course, we'll be looking forward to the next game against Ghana on the 29th, 6 days from now. So hopefully, I don't know, they'll probably fly out of Portugal tomorrow, arrive, rest a little bit, and then have 2 or 3 training sessions before the game against Ghana. But we're expecting to have a full squad by then. And we're expecting to see some improvements in the way the team plays, some changes ahead of that match. I have to end this live now. So thank you if you tuned in and you stayed till the end. If you want to still hear me talking about Nigerian football, my co-host is going to be joining me, Smidlai. We're going to start the Niger FC podcast. We're going to talk about, on the Niger FC podcast, if you are new to the channel, we always discuss a lot of things that maybe people are talking about. So we're going to talk about some potential transfers. If you've been following Nigerian football, you know that in the news, there's been this argument about who paid for what when it comes to the 2016 Olympics flight. We're going to talk about that as well. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Super Falcons also. So thank you very much. Please stay with me. Just refresh. You'll see that I'm live again in a couple minutes, like 2 minutes, and then join that Nigeria FC podcast live. Thank you very much, guys.